Welcome back, gentlemen, to another edition of the Physics Friar with special guest stars Sheldon and Noel and the dead flower that's been sitting in my classroom for the last 3 years.
Impulses are generally greater when objects bounce. Which requires more impulse, catching a flower pot or catching a flower pot and then throwing it back up in the air again? It's not an idle question. This really smart guy made a whole lot of money actually by making water bounce off of the paddles of his water wheel, which was called a Pelton wheel. When he invented this wheel, he made water bounce off the paddles, and the bouncing water provided a greater impulse to the wheel than it would to a wheel with flat paddles, making the wheel spin faster than it would otherwise.
What happens when an object bounces? We're going to break this down into two parts. First, when an object falls and hits a surface. And when an object bounces off a surface and goes back up, the following happens. And go. To catch the flower pot, to reduce its momentum to zero, requires a certain impulse. But to throw the object back up again requires even more impulse. Can you see why there is a greater force involved or a greater impulse when an object bounces?